The Hon Paul Brown.
Mr. President, I'm well aware that it's the end of the sitting week and we're about to go on a break, and so I don't wish to hold up my colleagues any longer than I have to. Recently, in an area that's covered by my electorate, we've had a rather different issue. I had a complaint made to me just recently about a direction made by the RSPCA against a veterinary practice in my electorate in the area of Dongra and Greenough. The Greenough Equine Veterinary Centre is a embryo transfer centre staffed by 3 very qualified veterinarians, vet nurses, and has an exceptional reputation throughout the equine community. Just recently, prior to the complaint being made to me, an RSPCA inspector had notified a member of the public to go to see Dr. Matt Carrick at the Equine Centre to get some direction about the provision of treatment and shelter and conditions to horses. In that, the complainant was saying that there was no shelter for horses along a section of the highway, and that this was causing poor animal welfare. The complainant was directed to the Equine Centre by the RSPCA inspector, who, and then when the complainant turned up at the Equine Centre, it was told quite clearly that there is no need, particularly in that region, because of the very coastal, moderate conditions. We don't have exorbitantly high temperatures. We have a good coastal breezes. We don't have high humidity. It's actually a very good area for horses. And she was also told that one of the best ways for horses to alleviate any heat stress that they might be currently facing is to actually stand out in a paddock in the breeze. Horses perspire. They actually create transpiration. Breeze running across their bodies actually alleviates the condition of heat stress, unlike sheep and cattle and other livestock. This was conveyed quite clearly to the complainant, and she obviously went away and made a further complaint to the RSPCA. RSPCA inspector then turned up at the Equine Centre and, speaking to the vet nurse and to an associate vet that was there, made a direction under section 40, subsection 1B of the Animal Welfare Act, which is quite a strange section to use, considering that is generally used for emergency welfare under the Animal Welfare Act. That is when animals are in dire circumstances such that there is imminent threat of their death. There's another section under the Animal Welfare Act, section 47, that generally deals with the more pedestrian type complaint of animal welfare. That allows the people to negotiate with the RSPCA, but also is reviewable by the Minister. Section 40, subsection 1 and subsection 1B is not reviewable by the Minister. So here we have the RSPCA, a civilian organisation charged with under the Animal Welfare Act of enforcement of the regulations, can actually work outside without any review by the Minister or the government when exercising their power. I find that untenable, that a civilian organisation has we have no recourse when a decision is made by a civilian organisation, that there is no review by the Minister at all. Where section 47, subsection J, would allow that review and allow some negotiation. These horses that we're talking about, these mares, some 24 mares, were rescued by the equine facility basically from going to the knackery. They were housed, they were fed, they were watered and given great treatment. In fact, became part of the Equine Facilities embryo transfer program. I have some photos here. I don't think I need to table them, but these horses are in pristine condition. There is no animal welfare considerations, no risk or concern here with these animals. But nonetheless, the RSPCA has used a very stringent part of the Act to determine that they know better. Not the Chief Veterinarian of the RSPCA, not even a doctor, a veterinarian with the RSPCA or under their guidance, but an inspector has actually turned up at their facility and given them a direction under Section 41B that they must now destock the property or provide shelter to those animals. But not only that, they've taken no regard to what 4 qualified veterinarians' advice has been given to them. I find that just mind-boggling that a civilian organisation allowed to adjudicate on the state government's behalf with no regard to the department or the ministry makes a direction against the knowledge of 4 veterinarians and places the direction on them to destock the property. But the laughable thing about this is that they've used Section 40, subsection 1B, which is basically an emergency section, but they've actually given them a month to comply. If these horses were in such dire need to be provided shelter, food, water and treatment, why then have the RSPCA allowed them 1 month to comply? Not 24 hours, not 48 hours, not a week, but 1 month. And then if those horses were not taken off inside 1 month, they would face a $20,000 fine for non-compliance. We look now to the outcome for these horses. These horses are now being adjusted elsewhere. The property has been destocked. It is now costing the Equine Centre, who've put all the time and the effort into building these horses back up into a pristine welfare condition, so much so that they are used in the in the embryo transfer program that the Equine facility uses. These horses are now adjusted elsewhere, costing the hospital money, and the outcome for these horses is dire. It's now it's gone to a point where it's costing the hospital, the Equine Centre, money to keep these horses, and they have not given any indication of what's going to happen to them, but I would say that the outcomes for these horses are very dire. And even so, even now, because of this direction, the Equine Centre is gun shy. They've got other horses in the hospital section, not able to use the paddocks, even though there's greenery in the paddocks. It's reasonably the temperature, the conditions outside, the environmental conditions are very moderate, even more so now than it was 2 months ago. But they are gun shy. They are too scared to put these horses outside in paddocks, even for a little while, to let them have a trot around, have a bit of green pick, and then go back into the hospital. This is what the RSPCA has created by being belligerent and being vengeful. And I think that's the word here. They have been out and out vengeful in their regard for the Greenough Equine Centre, and also completely disrespectful with the Department of Agriculture and the Ministry. They have been asked to rescind the direction, the Section 40 direction, and use a Section 47, and they have said no. We think we know what's better than the Ag Department or the 4 veterinarians, and we will determine the outcome of these horses. Well, the outcome of these horses is going to be very dire, and I think that the RSPCA should be held accountable. I'm calling for a review of the Animal Welfare Act to remove Section 40 to allow full review of any decision made by any livestock inspector, either working for the Ag Department or working for the RSPCA.
Further members?